What is your view of the current state of the real estate market?
Now, your next question about real estate market today, there is a difference. It's not like last time, but you're right. I mean, the glory days of the 2020, 2021, where they pumped so much money in the market that it was the everything bubble that we created. Everything went up. Stock market went up too high. Bitcoin went up too high. Everything went up too high because there was just too much money going around. Crazy to think that there's still money going around. The feds are still putting a ton of money into our system. There's a lot of available credit. It's a little bit different than the last recession where they dried up that credit. It's still being pumped around right now. There's still plenty of money in the system. So that's why you haven't seen the stock market crash completely yet. And real estate could crash. Here's the thing I learned from last recession as well. Don't buy real estate banking on appreciation. Don't bank that the values will go up and that's the only way you make money. That's what I used to think. Even as a financial advisor, I used to tell people all the time, don't put money in real estate because, of course, I don't get paid commissions if you put money in real estate. If you're really to ask financial advisors, that's the number one reason. They don't want you to put money in real estate because they don't get paid on it, right? They get paid on selling you mutual funds and insurances. That's it. Well, real estate, the thing with real estate is I used to think it only went up 3% a year on average. It's just keeping up with inflation. But the stock market does 10, 12% a year. First off, the S&P 500 has only actually returned an actual yield averaging 7.7% for the last 30 years. Secondly, real estate, the real money in real estate isn't by just buying it in cash and letting it appreciate at 3% a year. Real estate actually is best because the thing you can do with it is create a higher income from it. For example, there are properties right now in our network that we have. We call them turnkey real estate providers. Turnkey real estate, just so you know what that is, it's rental real estate, but you're not buying it in your backyard. By the way, if you're buying anything in the western half of the United States, it sucks. Don't do it. Okay. The eastern half are much better, especially the Midwest to the Southeast have much better opportunities. But a turnkey company, what they do is they help you find the property. They help you get the financing for it with a mortgage or whatever you might need for it. And then three, they also property manage it for you. So you aren't the property manager. That's one mistake I made in the last recession. I tried to be my own property manager. It was horrible. I don't property manage anything, but there's still real estate turnkey providers that help you find the property, get the financing for it, and yet you can still produce at least a 7, 8, or even 10+%, what they call a cash on cash return. What that means is, say you put $40,000 down on a property, if you make 10%, that means you make a net profit after you've paid all your expenses of $4,000 a year. That doesn't include appreciation. That doesn't include that you probably won't pay any taxes on that money because you get to depreciate the property. And that doesn't include the fact that if you have a mortgage on it, that your renters are paying down the mortgage for you, which wasn't included in that $4,000. So, give you an example. I bought a property just a little under about 4.5 years ago. Bought it in Memphis, Tennessee. The down payment with closing costs was $32,000. Now I'm making about $500 a month net profit on that property currently. So I'm making about $6,000 a year off that $32,000. That's still about an 18% cash on cash return. But that's not where all of my money's been made. I've also the fact that they've paid down my mortgage for me. Now my mortgage has more, several thousand more of equity. Of course, the property's appreciated. Even with it correcting and stuff, we still made a lot more money there. Even not counting all the tax benefits, the fact that I haven't paid any taxes on these properties because we're able to negate that with depreciation, I've still made about a 300% rate of return in 4.5 years. If I had put that same money in the S&P 500, I would have made about a 40% rate of return. So, you can do the comparison. It's hard to beat real assets, that's the difference. So again, if I were to put 40,000 into a stock market, even that 32,000, let's just use that number. Just so like there's this thing out there, you might have heard it before, Paul, where people talk about the whole 4% rule. You heard about that, where they say, whatever you have in your mutual funds, you can live on 4% a year and not run out of money. Well, that's pretty much been shot to death. If there's financial companies that came out saying, no, that's wrong. That's too high of a number. It should be closer to 3%. And that's if you're at retirement age. If you want to retire early, it's more like 2% you should take out. So think about it. Even if I had 32,000 and it grew 40%. So let's just say that it got up to about $46,000. All right, yes, now I can pull off cash off that. Well, 3% of about $46,000, that means I'm really only pulling out about, well, what was that, 1,300 bucks a month? You know, $1,300 a month I'm pulling out. You can't live on 1,300 a month versus now I'm making, sorry, not 1,300 a month. Sorry, that's 1,300 per year. Per year, sorry. I would love 1,300 a month off that, but no, it's 1,300 per year. 1,300 per year, and then you have to pay taxes on that money, right? So really, you might walk away with 1,000 bucks per year, versus I'm making almost 500 bucks a month, tax free on that. That's about $6,000 a year, or pretty close to $6,000 a year. I'm netting on my properties. It's a very different lifestyle. Give you an example. I had a colonel in California. He was one of the top ranking colonels, just retired from the military. He was on my show actually recently. Been on twice. Once when he first started to work with us, and then he came on again about 7, 8 months later. And in his case, he had $1 million saved in his retirement account. He max funded his 401k, got the match. He actually did better than the average American in that 401k because right before Y2K, what did he do? He said, you know what? I think things are going to start going down. I'm going to pull my money out of the stock market. And he put it in cash. And then it went up. Then of course the market tanked, but he didn't lose any money. And then he put it back in the market when it was low. So he got in at a good price. And then right before 2007, he moved his money out of into cash again, saved him from losing money. So he did not lose money in the last two recessions, but he only had $1 million after doing everything for decades. 60 years old, he said, wait a minute, Chris, I just did the math. $1 million, if I live on 3%, is only 30,000 a year. Who in California can live on 30,000 a year, especially because I'm going to get taxed? I'm probably going to take home less than 2,000 a year, or less than 2,000 a month from this money, right? I said, you're right. That sucks. You're a broke millionaire. You live below the poverty line as a millionaire in that kind of income stream. So what do? We end up doing some other stuff. We end up doing, for example, he bought some properties, got like a duplex, for example, that we bought, had a really good return on that, a good, solid, stable return there. He also got some money and bought an ownership interest in some apartment buildings. So he pooled money with other people, called a syndication, pulled his money with other people, did that, put some money in some debt type of funds where, a lot of times there'll be companies that will lend their money to other people and then get returns paid back because they're the creditor, right? And they get money there. So he's making money on that. And he even made money in the oil and gas space because we have one that's oil and gas backed by real estate, but you also get the royalties from the mineral rights. So he did all those things. His $1 million now produces $11,000 a month. So now he's not just living on less than 2,000 a month. Now he's at 11,000 a month. And now he just works part-time, consulting from time to time, just having fun, doing whatever the heck he feels like, and now whenever he makes money, it's all extra money. He can just go and reinvest and build that 11,000 a month to even higher than that. So that's the big difference right there. So is the real estate market done? If you just try to do the traditional methods, yeah, you might lose money in real estate. If you try to do what everybody else does, don't follow the masses. The masses don't do anything right. They're the ones that save in the 401ks because you've been taught to do that for years. Yet nobody's retiring. Those people that buy, the rental property next door and then make no money and then wondering why it's like such a long game to make money. And they sometimes accidentally still make money on them. No, the best way to do real estate is focus on cash flow. What income actually comes off of that? Even if values come down, you don't care if the values come down because as long as the income is still coming in, doesn't matter. You can wait it out forever versus the opposite being true. Especially with people I have that come to us from the West Coast, whether it's Washington, Oregon, or California, or even Arizona, they buy properties and they're negative cash flow. They have negative profit, right? They have losses on those properties, but they hope that they grow in appreciation. Those are the people that gamble. Those are the people that get burned the most as we move into this next recession.